She stepped onto the late-night train with trembling hands and swollen eyes. No one noticed her, except a toddler with curly hair and a teddy bear. And the moment the young woman's eyes fell on that child, she dropped her bags, rushed forward, and clung to her like life depended on it. The father stood frozen, confused. But what she whispered next left him speechless. Before we reveal the heartbreaking truth, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to Kindness Stories, your home for real, emotional stories that stay with you forever. The city lights blurred behind the frost-tinted window as the 10:45 train to Denver pulled into the station. Passengers bustled in with tired feet and heavy hearts, some returning from work, some escaping their homes, some running from themselves. Among them was a young woman named Emily Hayes, 23 years old, wearing a maroon hoodie 2 sizes too large and clutching a wrinkled photograph in her hand. She hadn't eaten since morning. Her eyes were red, and not just from the cold. Inside the nearly empty coach, a man in his early 30s sat near the window with a little girl curled in his lap. The child, no older than 3, wore a yellow jacket with bunny ears and hugged a weathered teddy bear close to her chest. Her father, Daniel Moore, a single dad, looked exhausted but alert, gently humming a lullaby to keep the girl calm. He had boarded this train every Friday for the past 6 months, trying to find work in a neighboring city. Life hadn't been kind to him since his wife's death. But he never complained. Not when he had Lily. As Emily stepped into the coach, her eyes scanned the seats numbly, unsure of where to sit. But the moment she saw Lily's face, something inside her cracked open. She dropped her backpack, gasped like she'd been punched, and rushed toward the child. Daniel instinctively stood up, protective and alarmed, but before he could react, Emily was already on her knees. She held the little girl gently. Then suddenly broke down in sobs. Heavy, uncontrollable, aching sobs. Lily, surprised but calm, didn't flinch. Instead, she looked into Emily's teary eyes and touched her cheek. "You okay, lady?" she whispered in her tiny voice. Daniel pulled Lily back slightly, alarmed. "Ma'am, I don't know who you are, but you can't just..." Emily raised her trembling hand and showed him the photograph. It was a picture of a baby girl in a hospital crib. Identical curls. Same teddy bear. Same birthmark on the chin. I think she's my sister's daughter," she whispered. "The sister I lost 3 years ago." Daniel's expression changed. Confusion turned into concern. "Wait, your sister? You mean Rachel?" Emily nodded slowly, barely able to breathe. "You knew her?" Daniel sank into the seat, his grip on Lily tightening, not out of fear but disbelief. "Rachel was my wife." The train moved. The world stood still. Daniel's face turned pale. "Emily, you vanished after the funeral. No one knew where you went." Emily's sobs turned softer. "I couldn't bear it. I was barely 20. I ran away from everything. But I never stopped looking for Lily." Daniel was silent for a long time. The train's rhythm filled the heavy silence between them. "I didn't know you were alive," he finally said. "No one could find you. I've been in shelters, rehab, life hasn't been kind," Emily whispered. "But I came back. I wanted to see Lily once before I left this city forever." Lily sat between them, blinking with her bright eyes. She didn't understand all the words. But she held Emily's finger tightly, as if her tiny heart recognized the bond. Daniel's eyes softened as he watched them. Maybe you don't have to leave. Emily looked at him with broken hope. Do you mean that? And then, without realizing it, 3 lives that had been scattered across grief, regret, and loneliness, sat silently in a moving train, trying to stitch themselves back together. But what happened at the next station would test them more than they could imagine. As the train rattled on through the quiet night, Daniel couldn't stop staring at Emily. Her eyes were different now, not just full of grief, but hope too. Lily had curled up against her shoulder like they were old friends reuniting after a long nap. I thought I was losing my mind, Emily said softly. I saw Lily's face and it was like Rachel was calling me home. Daniel sighed. Rachel always wanted you two to be close. You were just a kid when she got married. You had barely started college. Emily looked down at her worn hands. I dropped out the semester she died. I spiraled. Lost everything. I just couldn't survive the grief. But last month, I found something in Mom's old apartment. A letter from Rachel. It was addressed to me. She reached into her hoodie pocket and carefully pulled out a creased envelope. I brought it with me. Daniel leaned closer. Lily stirred in her sleep but didn't wake. Emily unfolded the letter, her fingers shaking. Dear Em, the letter began, if you're reading this, I'm probably not around anymore. I'm sorry. I wanted to be there for every step of your life. But if there's one thing I want you to remember, it's that you're stronger than you think. And I want you to take care of Lily if Daniel ever needs help. You're her aunt. Her blood. Be brave for her. Be brave for yourself. Emily broke down again, this time in silence. Daniel took the letter from her hands gently, reading the words that his late wife had written with hope, and a heart full of faith in her sister. I failed her, Emily whispered. For years, I didn't even know where Lily was. Daniel shook his head. You came back. That's all that matters. And I could use help. Raising Lily alone hasn't been easy. Emily's eyes lit up with something unfamiliar, purpose. I'd like to stay, she said, if you'll let me. Daniel nodded slowly. Rachel would have wanted that. Just then, the train came to a halt at Willow Creek Station. A few passengers disembarked. The air was crisp, and snowflakes fluttered outside the windows. Emily looked outside, then back at Daniel and Lily. Her past was in ashes. But maybe, just maybe, this train ride was the start of something new. I'm not going anywhere, she whispered. Lily opened her eyes slightly and smiled in her sleep, her tiny hand still gripping Emily's. 3 lost hearts. 1 train. And a promise that grief wouldn't have the last word. If this emotional reunion moved your heart, show your support by hitting the like button and subscribing to Kindness Stories, where every story reminds us that love always finds its way back, even on a cold night train. Yellow Heart.